Hey third grade, it's Miss Smith here. Here I am with my little dog, Macy. I know you've seen her in pictures in my classroom, but she's ready to hear a story, and I'm going to get to read our story this week with you and see if she likes it. So I'm going to put her down and let her listen to the story with us today. Okay. All right, friends, this week our story is called Athena and Arachne. And so yesterday, if you looked at your directions, we did our video together where you could write the vocabulary words and think of your own sentences now that you know the definitions. And you should have answered your questions to number 1 to get you thinking about the story. And then you got to get on my YouTube channel and watch the video about Athena and Arachne. So now that you know a little bit about the characters, we're moving on today to which the first thing is to review the vocabulary words in your book. So if you haven't done that part yet, you can do that first before you listen to me read, okay? And I'm going to read the story to you. So before I start the story, let's just review our vocabulary words quickly, and I will put them on the board just like I hang them up in my classroom. Okay? Remember, a messenger is someone who brings a letter or a package to another person. Challenge means invited to play a game or have a contest. Possession. Possessions are things that you own or have. Compete. Compete means to try to win at a game or a contest. Value. Value means to think of something as being special and important. And afford. Afford means to have enough money to buy something. So you've had a chance to review these words on the vocabulary pages in your book, and we'll look at these some together throughout the story. I did want to show you very quickly to look at the top of your packet. You know, because there are so many third graders that come to my class, we can't all come at the same time. So I have 2 different groups. I have a circle group and a diamond group. So if you are in the circle group, your book has a circle beside the word Unit 6 at the bottom. And if you are in the diamond group, yours has a square and a diamond together at the bottom. These stories are almost the same, they're just a little bit different. So I'm going to read them both in this video, but I'm going to read the circle story first. So if your book has a circle on it, and your packet has just the circle at the top, I'm going to read yours first. And that means if you have the book with the diamond, what you can do is fast forward, and when I hold this book up again, you'll know it's time to hear your story of Athena and Arachne. So I'll read both on this video. I'll do circle first and then the diamond second. So if you are not in the circle group, you can go ahead and fast forward until I hold up this book, okay? But if you're in circle group, let's go ahead and get started with the story together. First of all, I wanted to let you know this story is a myth. And a myth is a story that has been passed down and explains how something natural came to be. So if you have already listened to the story on my YouTube channel about Athena and Arachne, you know that spiders are natural, they're part of nature, but the story tells how spiders came to be called arachnids because they're named after the character in our story, Arachne. Now, do you think that this could really happen or this is really true? No, myths are just for fun, but they are very old stories. And it even says many myths have characters that are gods, goddesses, heroes, or creatures. And we know now that that story did have goddesses in it. So I'm just going to set this right here to help us remember what a myth is. And I'm going to read the story Athena and Arachne to you. You can follow along in your book. It says right up here that it's a myth. And we're going to learn why being proud sometimes causes problems. Now, if you have worked really hard and done a great job, let's say you've studied very hard for a math test and you get a good grade, you should feel proud of yourself because you worked hard for that and you deserve to have good feelings. But is it really okay to go around and tell people, I'm better than you because I got a better score and I'm smarter than you? No, that part is not so good. And that is what Arachne does in this story. She kind of brags about something she's good at. So you might notice in this box up here, it says characters. That's because this story is a drama. That means characters can act out this story like a play. So we could go watch people if they were pretending to be these characters. And if we were in class together, we would probably do that after we read it. But since we're not, if you have some people in your house that like to play, you guys can act out what the characters say just by reading. You can dress up. You can draw pictures of the story. You can have a great time with it. Okay? I'm going to read the words to you. We might stop and talk about a few things, but it's good to just listen and hear the words because some of these words are a little different because this is a myth and a very old story. So some of the words are very old. Okay, so if you have the circle book, here we go. Athena and Arachne. The characters are a narrator. That's the person who's telling the story. Arachne. Diana, who is Arachne's friend. Athena, a Greek goddess. And the messenger, which we know messenger is a person that brings letters or packages to you. Scene 1. Athens, Greece, a long time ago. So it doesn't tell us when, but we know it's set in the past, and we know the place is in a country called Greece. Narrator. Long ago, Arachne and her friend Diana were weaving. So hopefully you saw in the video link that I sent you on my YouTube, you could see that weaving means they're using fabric and thread. People like to weave so they can make rugs and blankets. It says, Diana, Arachne, that cloth is so beautiful. Arachne admires her cloth. So even her friend tells her how pretty it is. Arachne says, I know, many people want to buy my cloth, but most people cannot afford it. There's the yellow word afford. We know that means she thinks people do not have enough money to buy the things that she weaves. Diana says, many people love your weaving. It is one of their most valued possessions. Some people say that the goddess Athena taught you how to weave. Remember, possessions are things that you own that are very special to you. So Diana is telling Arachne lots of people that own the cloths that you have weaved, it's their favorite possession. It's the favorite thing they own. And she's saying that Arachne is so good that the goddess Athena, who is very good at weaving, maybe taught Arachne how to do it so well. But Arachne says, I did not need weaving lessons from a goddess. I was born with a talent to weave, and I am a much better weaver than Athena. I am sure I could win a weaving contest with her. So that blue word talent, that means that it's something you're naturally good at, that you're just kind of born with a good skill. Some people are very talented with art. They're good at painting and drawing. Some people are born with a natural talent to play sports. They're just good at it. Even if they don't practice a lot, they're just really good. So that's what she's saying. She's like, I didn't need anybody to teach me how to weave. I was born this way. I've always been good. And if we had a contest, I could beat her. So she doesn't have a very good attitude. Diana says, shh. I hope Athena isn't listening or you're in trouble. Arachne said, don't worry. Athena is too busy to leave Mount Olympus. She will not compete with me. So she's saying she will not compete with her. That means she does not think Athena will come to her home and say, let's have a weaving contest. But let's see what happens. In scene 2, Mount Olympus, home of Athena, a messenger arrives. So the setting has changed. Now we're not in Arachne's home. Now we're in Athena's home. And a messenger. So somebody's coming to bring her a message. The messenger says, Goddess Athena, I have news from Athens. The weaver Arachne says that she can beat you in a weaving contest. Athena, the goddess, she says, I will show her that I weave the finest cloth. Please get me my cloak. The messenger gives Athena her cloak. A cloak is kind of like a heavy piece of cloth that you can put around your head and your body to stay warm if you go outside. It doesn't really have sleeves like a coat. It's kind of like wrapping a blanket around you, but some of them have a hood. Athena says, Arachne cannot say mean things about me. She has to apologize, or I will make her pay for her boastful words. So that blue word boastful, that means if you're bragging a lot. If you're boasting, bragging, they're kind of synonyms. They mean the same thing. It means you're just telling everybody how good you are. And that's not a good attitude to have. Okay, let's move on to scene 3. We're back in Arachne's home. And there is a knock at the door. Arachne said, Who is there? Athena said, I'm an old woman and I have a question. But Athena was hiding under her cloak, and she entered the room. Athena says, Is it true that you want to compete with the goddess Athena? Arachne says, Yes, that's right. And then Athena drops her cloak. And that means when she drops the cloak, Arachne can see it's not an old woman, it's Athena. Athena said, Well, I am Athena. And I am here to compete in a weaving contest with you. So Arachne thought she would never come, but she did. And now she wants to compete. She wants to have this contest. And Diana says, Arachne, please do not compete with the goddess Athena. It is not a good idea. So her friend Diana is warning her. But does she listen to her advice? Let's see. It says, Arachne and Athena begin to weave furiously. That means super fast, and they're not stopping at all. So they're both weaving and weaving and weaving. Okay, now it's narrator's turn, so the person telling the story. Arachne and Athena both wove beautiful cloths. However, Arachne's cloth was filled with unkind pictures about the gods. So instead of just making a pretty design with stripes or polka dots or colorful patterns, in her cloth, like pretend she was making a shirt. She put on pictures on her shirt that were kind of mean or making fun of some of the gods. So nobody's going to like that, even though she worked really hard on it. Athena said, Arachne, your weaving is beautiful, but I am insulted. Your cloth is mean and unkind. As a result, I will punish you. The blue word, insulted, that means she feels like Arachne did something that was really rude, and it kind of hurt her feelings. Which, if someone drew mean pictures about you, that might hurt your feelings too. And that's kind of what Arachne did. Instead of drawing them, she weaved them. And so now Athena wants to punish her, which Diana, her friend, warned her she might get into trouble. So Athena points at Arachne. Arachne falls behind her loom and crawls out. Ooh. As a spider. Oh my gosh. Athena turned Arachne into a spider. She's not a human anymore. Gosh, this is what she says. Athena said, Arachne, you will spend the rest of your life weaving and living in your own web. Here's the narrator's last part. Arachne was mean and boastful, so Athena turned her into a spider. That is why spiders are called arachnids. That's important because arachnid sounds like Arachne. Arachne learned that bragging and too much pride can lead to trouble. So that's the lesson in this story, is even if you can do something well, you shouldn't really brag about it to other people and make them feel bad. And you shouldn't say or do mean and unkind and rude things to others, because you never know. Maybe they'll turn you into a spider. So I wanted to show you those words. Let's see if you can see them. This was her name, Arachne. And this is the word arachnid. So look, they both have arach in them. So a spider, a spider is called an arachnid. It's named after Arachne. Now, these people may not have really been real people, but it's just a fun story to tell about how a spider got its name. All right, guys, so that is the end of the story. So for the rest of the day, if you finished your vocabulary words and you've listened to me read and you're in the circle group, then you are all finished today. Remember, tomorrow it's your turn to read the story out loud to someone and answer the questions by finding them in your book and underlining the answers where you find them using your text evidence. Remember, on day 4, you need to write about the story, so use the paper to help you find the parts to write about. And remember, day 5, to go to the virtual field trip link, choose one field trip and write about it on the last page in your packet. All right. So circle group, have a great time and a fun week. If you need any help, just have your parents email me or Dojo message me, okay? All right, I'll see you guys next time. I'm going to start the part where I read to the Diamond group. All right, so here we are. Hey guys, if you are in the Diamond group, it's time to listen to the story about Athena and Arachne in your book. So you can open up and look at the words and as I read along. Now let's see. Our page in your book is 352. So I'm going to write that on the board here so you can see that. Our story is page 352. Now, before I read to the circle group, we reviewed the vocabulary words: messenger, challenged, possession, compete, value, and afford. And before you listen to this story today, on page 350 and 351, you should have taken some time to review the words yourself by completing the sentences. And remember, you can always go back to your vocabulary chart where you wrote the words to help you with the story as well. All right. So now that we've reviewed vocabulary and you finished that part in your book, I'm going to read Athena and Arachne. I'll stop and tell you some important things to think about or remember. Hopefully they'll help you understand the story a little bit, okay? I just told the last group that this story is a myth. And a myth means it's a story that has been passed down and explains how something natural came to be. So something natural, like part of nature. Sometimes these stories have characters that are gods or goddesses or heroes or creatures that aren't really real. So myths are really fun. You know that they're probably fiction stories, but it's really fun to read fiction and see how they explain some of the things that we have today and some of the words we have today. All right, so you can be looking for these vocabulary words and listening as I read the story. Athena and Arachne. So in this myth, we're going to read why sometimes even if you have a talent and you're good at something, if you brag about it, that's a problem, okay? Up at the top, there's a box that says characters, and this tells who is in the story. And I love this story because not only is it a myth, it is a drama, which means the characters take turns talking. And if we were in my class at school together, we could act this story out, and everybody could have a different part. So after I read this with you today, maybe you have people in your family that would like to take turns reading, and you all can act this out together for more fun. Okay, so let's get started. It says, Scene 1, Athens, Greece, a long time ago, Arachne's home. So this just tells a little bit about the setting. They're in a country called Greece, so if you want to look that up, you can and see where it is on the earth. It was a long time ago. It doesn't tell us the year, but it's a very long time ago. So we know it's set in the past, and it's at Arachne's home. Okay, so it's in her house. Here we go. The narrator begins this story. We know that the narrator is the person that is telling the story from his point of view. There's also Arachne, one of the main characters. Diana, who is Arachne's friend. Athena, the goddess, who's another main character in the story, and the messenger, which we know is a person who brings letters or packages to you. Okay, so let's begin. Here we are in scene 1 at Arachne's home. The narrator says, long ago, Arachne and her friend Diana sat weaving. Now, if you watched the video that I sent on my YouTube link about Athena and Arachne, you might have seen them weaving. That means they used thread and fabric to make different cloths. Some people will weave blankets or rugs, and they usually have beautiful designs in them. Diana said, "Oh, Arachne, that cloth is so beautiful." Arachne admires her cloth. Arachne says, "I know. Many people want to possess my cloth, but few can afford it. Only those with great wealth can buy it." So Arachne is bragging. She's saying, I am so good at this, and lots of people want to buy my special cloth because they're so beautiful, but not many people can afford them. That means she makes them cost so much money, and they're so expensive that normal people don't have enough money to buy one. So she's not very nice about it. Diana says, "Yes, it's true that people value your cloth. It is one of their most valued possessions. Your weavings are a real treasure. Some say that you learned your weaving skill or talent from the goddess Athena. So look, there's a lot of vocabulary words in that part. It says many people value it, which means it's something very special and important. That's how they feel about their cloths that Arachne has weaved. Some people say it's their most valued possessions. Remember, possession is something you own. So she's saying lots of people feel like it's their favorite thing they own. And Diana told Arachne, she said, you are so great that people think a goddess taught you how to weave, the goddess Athena, which really would have been a compliment to think, wow, a goddess taught me how to weave. But Arachne didn't like this comment. And she says, it was not necessary for me to learn from a goddess. I was born with my talent. I am a much better weaver than Athena, and I'm sure I could beat her in a weaving competition. So she's saying that she was born with this talent. That's the blue word. And a talent just means something that you're naturally good at. Some people are very good at art. They can draw and paint. Some people are very good at sports. It means they don't even have to work that hard. They're just good at it. But it's not good to brag, even if you do have a talent. So she's telling Diana, no one had to teach me. I was just born this good. It says Diana is worried. She stops weaving and looks at Arachne. Shh! I hope Athena isn't listening or you're in big trouble. Arachne said, nonsense. There's no reason to be alarmed or worried. Athena is much too busy to come down from Mount Olympus to compete with me. So even though Arachne thinks she's better than Athena and she could beat her, she doesn't think Athena's going to come to her home and say, hey, let's have a weaving competition. So she thinks she can brag all she wants because they'll never have a contest. And there's our yellow word, compete, which we know means that you are having a contest with somebody and you're trying to win. Okay, on the next page, we have scene 2. So the setting is changing. It says Mount Olympus, home of Athena. A messenger arrives. So now we're not at Arachne's home, we're at Athena's home. And a messenger comes. So he's bringing a message to Athena. The messenger says, Goddess Athena, I have news from Athens. The weaver Arachne says she can beat you in a weaving competition. She is obsessed with her skill and thinks she is the best weaver in Greece. You know what Athena said about that? I'll show her who weaves the finest cloth. Her obsession with weaving must end. Please get me my cloak. And the messenger hands Athena her cloak. A cloak is almost kind of like a blanket you can wear outside if it's cool or raining. It doesn't really have sleeves, but sometimes they have a hood. It's just to kind of cover your body and protect it from outside weather. So Athena says, Arachne cannot talk about me that way. If she refuses to apologize, I will make her pay for her boastful words. Her anguish will be great. Now that blue word boastful just means that you're very proud and you brag a lot, which is what Arachne was doing. She was saying how wonderful she was and how she could beat anybody who wanted to weave. And Athena doesn't like that. It's not a good attitude to have. So she's going to see if Arachne will apologize and say she's sorry. And if she doesn't, Athena is a goddess. So she could probably do something very mean back to Arachne. Scene 3. Arachne's home. There is a knock at the door. So now we're back at Arachne's home, and there's a knock. Who's there? Athena says, just an old woman with a question. But Athena is hiding under her cloak, and she enters the room. Athena says, is it true that you challenged the goddess Athena to a weaving competition? There's our word challenged. It means you are asking or inviting someone to compete with you. Arachne says, yes, that's right. And Athena drops her cloak. So now Arachne knows under that cloak was not an old woman. It was Athena. Athena says, well, I am Athena, and I am here to compete with you. So Arachne thought she would never come to her house, but here she is. Oh, and here's Diana, her friend that warned her. She said, Arachne, please don't. It is unwise to compete with a goddess, because gods and goddesses are very powerful. So it's probably not a good idea to have a contest with them. But Arachne and Athena sit down at the empty looms and begin to weave furiously. That means they are going super fast and they're not stopping. Okay, on the next page, Arachne says, I am ready to win and get my reward. Athena said, there's no prize if you lose. The narrator says, Arachne and Athena both wove beautiful cloths. However, Arachne's cloth was filled with pictures of the gods being unkind. So most people, if they weave, they make beautiful patterns, like with shapes and stripes, or even pictures of things in nature that are good to look at. But she included pictures of gods, and they were kind of mean pictures, kind of like she was making fun of them. So if someone made you a shirt, you wouldn't want to wear a shirt that showed it was making fun of someone else, because they might get upset with you. Athena said, Arachne, your weaving is beautiful, but I am insulted and upset by the pictures you chose to weave. You are boastful, and your cloth is mean and unkind. For that, I will punish you. That blue word, insulted, it means that Athena felt like Arachne's pictures were really rude, and it hurt her feelings. And so that's why she wants to punish Arachne, because she didn't make very nice pictures. Athena points dramatically at Arachne. Arachne falls behind her loom and crawls out as a spider. Athena turned Arachne into a spider. That was her punishment. So now she's not a person anymore. She's a spider. Because arachnid is the family that a spider is in. And I'll show you that in a minute. Athena says, Arachne, you will spend the rest of your life weaving and living in your own web. So now she doesn't get to weave cloths anymore. So she won't be making rugs and blankets. She's going to be weaving webs. The narrator said, Arachne was mean and boastful, so Athena turned her into a spider. That's why spiders are now called arachnids. So that's an important part you might want to underline. Arachne learned that bragging and too much pride can lead to trouble. So that is the important lesson in this story, is that even if you are good at something and you are talented, you shouldn't brag about it to other people and ask them or challenge them to compete with you all the time, because you never know. Maybe something really bad could happen like this. I wanted to show you the words. Her name was Arachne, And a spider is an arachnid. So they both have Iraq at the beginning. So this is just a fun story that tells the way that a spider got its name. Now, you can decide if you think it's true or not. But that's what myths do. They kind of get you thinking and they teach you a lesson. And from this we learned a good lesson, not to boast and brag. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to the story. I hope that it helps a little bit. Remember, tomorrow on day 3, it's your turn to read the story. Find the answers to the questions yourself by underlining them. On day 4, use this page to write about the story. You can go back in the story and find the answers to help you write. And on day 5 is your virtual field trip. Choose one place to go and explore the website, and then write about where you chose to go, what did you learn, and draw a picture on the back. All right, this has been so fun, and I really hope that you all enjoy getting to see me. If you have any questions, tell your parents to dojo message me or email me, and I will help you all that I can, okay? So keep working hard this week on our activities, and I will see you again on here on my YouTube channel for more vocabulary words and stories next week. Bye, guys.